Number 6, Visions of Johanna. Visions of Johanna is the song that maybe best sums up Dylan's unique appeal. The song sits in the heart of his transition to surrealist poet and electric musician, but never crosses over. It keeps the heart of who he's always been.
Do you think of yourself primarily as a singer or as a poet?
Well, I think of myself more as a song and dance man, you know.
The imagery in this has some of the craziest leaps you'll hear actually work on a record. Infinity on trial and voices bemoaning salvation are frankly insane, and the ghost of electricity howls in the bones of her face is a line that knocks you out and breaks your heart, but they're natural here. They work because the imagery he uses to set them up are comfortable Americana, even if the lyrics are unrecognizable. Lines like, "In this room the heat pipes just cough, and the country radio station plays soft." They may feel close to poetry, but you could tinker them into Dolly Parton lines with very little work. And the music?
He just changed altogether. He's changed from what he was. He's not the same as what he was at first.
I don't even recognize him.
No.
The roots of this song aren't actually that different from his early solo works. The blasting harmonica and the steady guitar are both here, but the accents around it are what allows the song to go 7 minutes without sacrificing appeal. The organ in the distant background, the pulsing bass, the funky lead guitar straying in and out of the song, they all need a constant to build around, but elevate greatness when they find it. You can listen to this song looking for a poet talking about the eternal journey, or an Americana musician building on Hank Williams and Woody Guthrie. You'll find greatness either way, and that's the appeal of both Dylan and Visions. You can see what you want to.
It's so hard to get on, and these visions of Johanna, they kept me up past the dawn.
Number 5, A Hard Rain's A Gonna Fall.
Take this one you sang. This one that I think will be a classic. This Hard Rain's Gonna Fall. Even though it may have come out of your feelings about atomic rain, at the same time...
No, it wasn't
didn't.
atomic rain, no.
Well, go ahead.
Somebody else thought that, too.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, it's not atomic rain.
Go ahead.
It's just a hard rain. It's
Hard
not atomic rain, no.
Written as a response to the Cuban Missile Crisis, Dylan has stated that all of the lyrics were taken from the initial lines of songs that he thought he would never have time to write. There was a real fear that a bomb would be dropped and it would mark the end of civilization. This 7-minute song flows through this barren wasteland of surrealism, much like the works of T.S. Eliot, evoking both darkness and light within this strange universe. This song is Dylan's coming out party as the greatest songwriter in the world. The fact that a 21-year-old wrote, "I met one man who was wounded in love, I met another man who was wounded in hatred," or "The executioner's face is always well hidden," is almost inconceivable.
Hard rain, I think. And wept. Because it seemed that the torch had been passed to another generation.
Musically, the song is in drop D tuning, with ascending triads from the open D chord that move up the neck to a G and A before returning back to the D chord. A simple but effective way to create tension and push an endless loop of momentum within the verses before returning to the tagline of, "And it's a hard rain's gonna fall." It's almost impossible to corner any of his work into one simple theme or statement, and this song would have to be the prime example of that. His ability to work so many moods and feelings around the idea of a hard rain is to be commended, and would soon be replicated by other artists. Details are questioned, and it's almost impossible to get a straight answer, but one thing he is sure of and stands committed to is that Hard Rain is about an end, a final chapter. Number 4, Mr. Tambourine Man.
What particular song would you say you remember as being a breakthrough for you? Was it Blowing in the Wind?
No, it was the most honest and straight thing which I thought I'd ever put across that reached popularity, you mean. There's been a few. Blown in the Wind was to a degree, but I was just a kid. You know, I mean, I didn't know anything about anything at that point. I just wrote that, you know, and that wasn't it, really. Mr. Tambourine Man, I was very close to that song. I kept it off my third album just because I felt too close to it to put it on, you know.
My weariness amazes me. I'm branded on my feet. 1,000 dreams within me softly burn. Only one of those lyrics is Bob Dylan's. The other is a line by Arthur Rimbaud, the poet who would end up the heaviest literary influence on both Highway 61 and Blonde on Blonde. Those albums are the hallmarks of Dylan's surrealist era, but this song was originally recorded for another side of Bob Dylan. The style was a much better fit for his 1965 album, Bringing It All Back Home, opening the acoustic side of the record. It also would become the first folk rock smash hit for the Byrds, whose cover version was a #1 single. Written after visiting Mardi Gras during a cross-country trip, the song is both exhausted and excited, fitting given the circumstance. The music is his most jingly-jangly to date, with a pleasant folk rock sensibility. It also bears the marks of a waking dream, the early mornings where your thoughts seem to drift above the realities of your body. The swirling electric guitar floats so far from the acoustic that it just sounds like pure music, ethereal, hard to pin down. It feels more like a tired but pleasant dawn given form, but it's a mask the depth of the lyrics can hide behind, the first in a song built around them. Poetry is often called a way to say simple things beautifully, so it makes sense that Dylan would be drawn to it. The boy who started out presenting a stark, crisp images had been wounded by our love and no longer had the freedom to simply say what he meant, nor the desire to. Those images we adored had to hide to be expressed, and as they hid, they gained a thrilling mystery. The people in Dylan's music began to wear different faces and play different characters. Who does the Tambourine Man play? An old-fashioned poet? A 50s rock and roller? The mystic guru the Beatles fell in love with? Nobody is really certain, but what is obvious is Dylan playing his favorite character, maybe his only character. The trickster hero who puts a bit of truth in every word so that we cannot spot the lie, an element of self-preservation that he holds dearest.